lots to talk about. We got a new PGA Tour winner, lots of work going on in the shop, got some new ferrules in. Let's go. Welcome to What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Why is it What's in My Drawers? Because old Clubmaker Club fitters are tremendous pack rats. And that's how it started out, right? We talked about what we were storing away in the drawers in the shop, and it turned into a world-renowned live stream where we talk to people all around the world. So it's been a pretty good thing, right? When we're keeping up with it. So not too bad. All righty. Let's do a couple extra things while we're here. I go back down here. That's not what I wanted. I want this. Here we go. All right. Now we got it all happening. So, did everybody see a lot of good weather? We saw about 2 days worth of good weather, and all of the golf courses were jammed up. Turns out it was all on my birthday, so it didn't really make too much of a difference because Mrs. McGolf had work for me to do. So, hey, there we go. Okay, so new winners. Scotty Sheffield, I don't even have to look. Won, and won by being solid, right? The average scoring was 75. Just crazy tough. If you watch some of those guys hitting on there, those greens weren't going to hold anything. But it was kind of different to see him go from a -10 coming into the weekend to a -5. You know, I thought Woodland had it going in there, and then all of a sudden he came crashing down. So that was something else. Something new to the McGolf shop. Everybody knows the BB&F Ferrule folks, right? So we've gotten a hold of them, and we ordered some just to have on hand. And we have the shorties. I like the shorties. They are, I think they look better. The long ones are okay, but I think these look better. We got a white and a silver and a white. Let's see, what else did she order us? And then we've got a black and green. That's kind of a St. Patrick's Day kind of thing going on right there, right? Okay. And then we've got what else we got in here? Oh, we got a white and a silver, green and silver, green, silver, green. I like that one too. And then we've got here's one of the larger ones. This color combination only came in their normal size. And that's kind of we'll call it kind of a brownish red, burnt red, silver. And I believe we got one more. Yep, one more. Nope, two more. And then we've got a white one for the guys liking just a little bit of a different look. And then we've got these guys, a blue one, kind of a light bluish color. So we got some with the 4 stripes and that kind of stuff. So not too bad, right? All right. Let's see. So in the shop, I was going to try and do in the shop, but the computer was saying I was taking a long time to make things go. So it might be a bit of a struggle here. We're going to see what we can pull off. And we go all the way down to the bottom here. It's time to start doing some cleanup if I got all these pictures, huh? All right, let's do that. Okay. So let's start at the top. What do we got here at the top? Here we go. Some ZX5s, ZX5s with some MMC, I believe they're mid-size, and some Acris 70s. Turned out really, really nice. We put the black and chrome on them. I believe there's a bigger picture of them there. And then a bigger picture of the shafts. And I think these are it. No, that's just another picture of the same. All right. And then, of which, there's the bigger picture of them. And then I made a set of Mizuno MMCs. MMCs. I reshafted a bunch of them, and I put these They were X-Flex Nippons with the Z-cord grip. I was just surprised as all get out that they actually had them. So that turned out pretty good. I'd show you that, but the heads are not popping up for some reason. Alrighty. Plus, man, none of them came in. So I also did a lot of repairs. We actually went over about 50, a little over 50 clubs over just in one day, just to kind of keep up. And we still got more to build. We're kind of waiting on supplies. The supply chain issue has finally hit McGolf. We're just waiting for them to show up. So that's a good thing. And, grips are becoming an issue. Some shafts. Shafts are not so much now that you know what you can and cannot order. The heads are becoming I don't think we're struggling with the heads so much. Mizuno itself is they got hacked. I don't know if anybody knows that, but they got hacked, and they're recovering from being hacked. And so that's delaying some of the shipments, but they are redoing some of the way that they're shipping out their stuff. So those of us who are allowed to get heads only are probably going to be okay. That's not a bad thing whatsoever. Oh, I don't know if did I show you that I got these last time? The wedges. I got full toe wedges from Callaway as a wedge. We're going to try those out. I've been hitting on those for a little bit. Picked up a little bit of yardage. I don't know if that's from the working out or from the wedge or a bit of both. I'm going to kind of go with the both. Started doing my reviews finally. Started doing the reviews of this guy. We started with the Max and the Max D, and some interesting stuff. It just goes to show that fitting is really important, and that'll be covered in the video. Okay. Oh, what else we got out there? Stuff is starting to come in, guys. We're really starting to see it. The golf balls are starting to come in. The product is starting to show up. The only thing that we're waiting on right now is the Wilson, of which we should be seeing some here any moment. All right, so let's go to the top and see what we got here. Emmanuel, what do you say? Hope Rob is doing well and your game is good. My triple diamond LS came in and I put a mad shaft on it. Wow. Got my 8 yards back. Longest today, 271. Emmanuel, nicely done, sir. Particularly if you're hitting the triple diamond. I mean, that's for a gamer. Don't let anybody try and get on a bet. It gets about 5 holes into it. Watch out. Now the triple black or the triple diamond is smaller, and I ran into that very same thing with I was doing a fitting for an eye doctor, a younger guy, and been a golfer his whole life. And we went through the Rogue, and he was gaming an R5. All right, so it's been a bit, and we threw him out there, and oh my God, and he was doing okay with the LS, and I put the triple diamond in him, and it was just another game, just like you were saying, Emmanuel. It was just another game, all just totally different, and that's I thought that was cool. So that was neat. Got to figure out how to remove the non-plumber's neck shaft without melting the face. You got to figure out how to remove a non-plumber's neck putter shaft without melting the face. Well, typically, Emmanuel, what I tend to do is I heat it from the backside only. I know it's kind of hard. The other thing is normally those mean that they're double bend shafts. If it's not a double bend shaft, you can use a heating rod. That always works. But if it is a double bend shaft, you're going to be kind of stuck going from the backside, and you still have to be gentle then. So hopefully it works out. There's Matt. Shot a 76 first round since the snowfall. Will be at my daughter's basketball game, so I have to miss the live stream. Question. Okay. What's going in the bag for 22? Well, I just got it today. I haven't even opened the box. Mrs. McGolf told me about it, and we're going to do that. Oh, I got an itchy nose. So far, what's going in the bag? Can you see it back there? Right there. The Rogue STLS. I took it out. We went down to Took it to the PGA show. I got to golf with Steve. They did a pretty good job down there. And I took it down to Floribama, and it did a pretty good job down there too, in comparison to what I was doing. I mean, into the wind and getting some 230 shots into the wind and on sea level, I'm pretty happy with that. My biggest thing was a lot of control. I didn't really pull too many out of it. Was a different, I realized I was having a different thought process when I was just going up and going, yep, this is where it's going to go. That's a whole different ball game when you can have that kind of confidence. So I'm happy with that. And but that's not what came. That is not what came in the mail today. Something else did. And we'll have to. I'm gonna have to hit a few, and then we'll talk about it. But the bag is changing, and hopefully for the better. The exact same ones that have been there for the past several seasons. If it works okay, then have at it. I'm game for that. I've tried moving that putter out of the bag, and it just keeps coming back. And so this year, it's not. I'm not even going to think about it. It's staying. The 2 hybrid, unless this other one just jumps up and performs like crazy, that'll stay in the bag. Bob's seen that one. It's that one works pretty good. And the wedges, there's gonna be a tough contest in the wedge category, and then I will be changing the irons. I just don't know when. Danny Johnson, enjoyed watching the Volume 7. Please refresh my memory. What's the fishing line that I see you put on the iron shaft? Danny, all that is to hold the head in. So there's a 1/100th, 1/10th actually. It goes from a point, no, it's a 1/100th, yeah. It goes from a 0.370 to a 0.380, and that line takes up that slack so that I can do the flowing and flexing while I'm using the exact head and the shaft combination. That's what it is. Mr. Krister's back. All right. Cold and snowy still. Well, yeah, okay. It's still that time frame. Snowy here. So indoor golf is what I do. Well, at least you're golfing. That's a good thing. Uh-oh, brought 2 new putters. Clubs for cash. A TM 440. 17 driver. All right, first putter was the Wilson. I saw the Wilson, and the second was a Ray Cook. Ray Cook, that man, he was doing it in the day, man. I think that was pretty cool. All right, how much MY does the Las Vegas have as compared to the Tri Hot 5Ks? Well, Brandon, I will say that the 5K is higher, although it's in probably deep competition with the Las Vegas, and the Las Vegas is basically the milled model, comparable to the Model 7s, right? And you have those big wings at the side, and they should help. But I think what helps the Tri-Hot is the added weight that's out there. So the way that it's made, the Tri-Hot already is made with added weight naturally, and then it has the weight slots in there, and so it adds even more to the point, right? And because it's all in that, most of the putters that they have are all blades, so you only have to put it in a small area, where on the 7 it fills up an area like that. So not only do you have to worry about depth, but now you got to worry about width, and that's probably the reason why it does that. Yes, I know that some of those 7s have weights on them, but if you weighted it up, you could probably get it out to there. Great video last week. Good. Glad you liked it, man. I was watching. I had a question I wanted to ask. Unfortunately, it was more than 2 minutes ago. Okay. Well, when you figure it out, let me know. No golf up in Wisconsin. Freezing light rain before last and snow in the morning. Thank goodness for simulators. Always tuning. Thank you. Thank you much. Yeah, we just had, if you look back here, you can, well, over here, you can see where it's starting to turn green, but it got into almost 80 degrees for 2 days. 60s before that. It was like, hey, spring's here. And now it's in the 30s. And it rained all last night. And now it's going to be, there's going to be a whole lot of cold temperatures where it gets down in the 30s and the 20s with the highs of the 40s during the day. Now, how long that is, that remains to be seen. So, spring hasn't quite sprung, but it certainly is trying. All right, Mike's in Tampa, in the company of a few gators, left a ball or two near the water. Yeah, I'd say uh, that was Bob and I went down that neck of the woods, and there was a big monster gator. I guarantee you, is every bit of 20 foot long. We thought it was fake because it was a clay color, and then all of a sudden it went. And I was like, "Well, we're done. We're out of here." And didn't even get close enough to get a really good picture, other than that it's clay. But yeah, don't mess with those guys. None at all. Ian, how are you, sir? Been hitting Callaway 2009 X Forged irons for the last 12 years. Time for a new set of Rogue STs. I think. Love your show. Whoa, look at this one. Mina Tasmania. Mina, Tasmania, Australia. Wow. Very cool. Well, thank you for being up in the morning then. Very cool. Yeah, if you've been hitting X Forged and you're going to go to the Rogue, if you're going to, you're probably looking at the Rogue Pro as something comparable, because the X Forged is that's a player's that's a player's club, to be sure. And you'll like the Pro. Very forgiving for a blade looking one, and it will go. There's Charles. What do you say, buddy? Hopefully you guys are getting out of the snow as well. Danny Freeman, did you see Adam Scott putting with the new lab putter? It's called the Mez. Kind of cool. No, I did not. I will have to look it up. I like the lab putter philosophy. It just looks like a branding iron is all, but it works. Hello, Darren. How are you, sir? Willard, hope everything's going well. Recovering from a second bout of skin cancer, not major at the moment, and I wear all my protections. Well, hopefully you can get over that. I've had two sections of it myself. It's cost me a chunk of skin. I got a piece right here and a piece you can't right in this neck of the woods. But they've gotten it. So far it's been good. And yes, I do wear the sunscreen. All right. Dan Sapp, guesstimate on punter length for someone 5'5". So Dan, if you're let's say you're taking average to normal putter stance, which means bent at the waist, knee slightly bent so that your arms can move freely back and forth, kind of thing, right? Instead of a super tall board like 5'5", I would probably look in that 33-inch range, somewhere in there. That way it's least comfortable, and if it's too much, choking down won't feel gross like on a normal size putter. They are, Krister, they are classic. From the other time, but that's when the hosels were much longer and the blades were much shorter and they were longer and all that other stuff. And they did have a place cosmetically at that time. Now with the new modern look, I'm just not a fan. I'm not. Some of them they look really cool on, some of them they don't. In my opinion, the other fellows would probably tell you different. But I do like the shorties. I think they tend to look like they belong, at least. Still windy, wet here in God's country, Yorkshire. But it's due to change. Now we just need a course to dry out. Very good, sir. Darren wants to ask him, is a shop fit like yours much better than shops with fitting carts? I feel they have less shaft options, not as custom as they could be. What's your feeling on this, Callaway, for example? Well, there's a plus. That's not, Darren, that's a good call. That's a good question. So I will say, so guys with fitting carts are going to be relegated to whatever that OEM has in store for them. Now, that said, is that if the OEM is doing their job, they've done some testing and found that the shaft head combinations across however many shafts works pretty good, so that it helps you limit your choices. All right. And we'll use Callaway as an example. This year, we'll use the driver. There are 4 driver combinations out there: the Max, the Max D, the LS, and then the Triple Diamond LS. Now, with that, they have the Tensai White, Tensai Blue, and then the Cipher, right? I believe, is there one more? And the Cipher. I think those are the 3 that are the most common. I'm going to look here real quick because I have 2 sitting right here. Those are those. So you should be able to find some combination between the 3 shafts, 4 heads. And I'm not so certain there's not a 4th one. Now there are other the way that fitting carts work, that you got all the heads and you got a limited space for shafts, whether it be for irons or drivers. And most companies will offer some what they'll call upgraded shafts, not at a cost, upgraded shafts at a cost. This depends on the maker at the time and the kind of deals that they've struck. And I would doubt that every fitting cart has every option on them. They're going to hit the high points, right? And that's kind of what we're doing with the high points. Now that's with that one. Okay. And if you had a whole army full of those types of carts, you'd be able to fit with whatever Callaway has, with whatever TaylorMade has, with whatever Titleist has, whatever Ping has, and so on and so forth, because the connectors don't fit each other. That's the proprietary portion. That's how you keep them separate. Now, for what I do, I have a universal connector that allows me to pick my shafts and put them on the various heads that you see behind me. Well, let's see. There they go. Of all those heads. So my head and shaft combination is a little bit larger. It's not to say that it's better, it's just bigger. And what it means is I have to gain a little bit more knowledge on the shafts that I put up on the wall, either via testing or analyzing, from the information they send me, that kind of thing. So if you're looking at something, and it comes right down to the fitter, right? If you find something that, let's say you go to a Callaway guy and that's all he's got is a fitting cart, and you can't quite nail down the fit. If that guy can't recommend a different shaft that he knows it would bring the spin rate down or the ball flight down or up for that matter, then it's time to go somewhere else, because they're not familiar with the width and the breadth of the fitting. Now here that's a little bit easier to do, right? Because I can fit into all of them, and so that's the difference. Without sounding like a commercial, which I probably already have, it's really about the person you're talking to and the equipment, not just one or either. Okay, but if I'm going to pat myself, if you're going to ask me, and you're going to ask me if is the cart better than what I do, I'm going to tell you what I do. That's just what it is. But can you get a quality fitting from a guy with a cart? Yeah, you can. All right. Sean's saying hi to Robin. Nick Flores, Lucky Green, Jim. Yeah, there you go. Here's a new name, John A. Alexander. Hey, how you doing? Does anyone know what ferrule the Tacoma iron head takes? It takes a 3. If it's the iron, it's a 370. I just put a set together. It was on a thing. A normal 370 will fit it. If I switch to, Darren wants to ask, if I switch to 120 gram shaft to a 110 or 105, and left all other components the same, how would that affect swing weight, if any? Okay. So we went from 120 to 110 or 105. So as a whole, when you talk about swing weight, it's about 9 grams per swing weight point in the shaft. So you're looking at going down a swing weight point to a swing weight point and a half. That's what it's going for. Virtually, if you didn't know that I changed it, you probably wouldn't sense it. How's Robin's foot doing? I'm sure she's answering you down here, but Thursday's the day. Goes under the knife, and then we got to cart her home. And so that's going to be something. We'll finally get her fixed, and we'll go from there. Jack King from Lombard, how are you, sir? James Hodge, how are you, sir? Hodges, sorry, from Bristol. And you guys staying up late, I appreciate it. Thank you so very much for listening in. No. Glad you made the decision to have the surgery. And let me tell you, it bounced back and forth there for a little while. I think it was until she decided that wearing flip-flops hurt that she finally decided to change her mind. All right. See, we got something good going for us. Darren again. Is wrapping lead tape around the iron hosel just under the ferrule acceptable for adding swing weight, or is it technically better on the back of the iron? No big diff aside from cosmetics. Let me ask. I got to think about that one for a moment. Lead tape around the iron hosel just under the ferrule. Oh, yeah, you could do that. I've done that. I did that for a guy that was in a hurry to get some swing weight, and I did one around the shaft and let him hit, and it impacted him such that he just loved it to death. So that's what we did. We actually put it on the shaft. Now, putting it on the hosel would, in my opinion, would be better because of it being a little bit more solid. But that's where I would put it. Bobby Marson, if the marks don't line up, which should you concentrate on more, spine or flow? Okay, Bobby. So as I've told, the spining is to get you into the right church. Flowing gets you into the right pew. And so if you got the spine and you put it at the noon or wherever you decide to put it, and then so if you put let's do this, I'm going to talk about the way I do it. So I put it at noon, and then I put the club head like that, right? So we're sitting here like this. So you're looking at it like that. Now, if I go and put it up and down, and it wobbles, but I have to turn it just ever so slightly one way or other, which I've done in one of the videos. It was off quite a bit. I am more concerned about it flowing than I am anything else. Why is that? And that's because, number one, I could have missed something during the spining, and two, I'm seeing the last bit is seeing the flow, the flat line, because the geometry of the head, in my opinion, could be throwing off that number. So if you have a golf club that goes up, has a lot of offset on it, then you're not sitting right on top of that shaft. It's over here to the side, and that could throw you off. And so I make sure that the flow is proper before getting done. All right. Ryan Tracy, what we got here? Notice most of the B2Bs are 370 parallel tip. Can you really do much to test to change CPM flexes besides hard? No, you'd be correct. And no, honestly, no, because the hard step and soft step is about a third of a flex. And I wouldn't necessarily go up or down much more than that, because at one end or the other, you're going to pay for it, right? If you go up, then 9 wedge will all be the same. You go down, and the top end could be that way. So, and no, you can't. The only way you could do it maybe is adding weight, and I'm not a big adding weight fan for the sake of changing something else. So yeah, that's the that's the beauty, at least from the OEM standpoint, of taper tips, so that they'll go in. Now, I will say, let's do that. I will say that uh, to the credit of some of the shaft makers out there, that the flex does not vary greatly, so you do come pretty close. However, there are some out there where, because you're adding that weight, that the flex tends to move up, and you can be at the bottom of the one range and end at the top at the other end. That's happened to me a couple of times. Uh, but as a whole, like I said, when I was doing for instance, let's see if I can show you out there. For instance, man, I wish I had the head. So, for instance, this guy's set right here using those shafts, right? Nice. So, look, he had some of the taller ferrules down if you look down at the bottom. Anyway, so that guy, right? When I started out, I recorded, of course, I record all the flexes, and it only moved a quarter of a flex. So that's pretty good, right? That's pretty good indeed. And so I'm real happy with a lot of that. But and of course you do some weight sorting, and if you find that they're supposed to be the same, and if you find that they're climbing in weight, then you should expect to see it climbing in flex as well. Dembunga, what do you say, buddy? Alrighty. Dodgy swing. Still loving the 2016 TaylorMade M2 over my Sim 2. Okay. As I was telling this when we were talking about the guy that was gaming the R5, right? Gaming the R5. Just like Ping will probably never get out from under the shadow of the Ping i2 as far as irons go. TaylorMade's going to have a rough time of getting out of the shadow of the R5 and the R580. Those were some of the best club heads that those guys made. And the funny part, it is a total departure from what they're designing now. Now, I don't mean by the materials, I don't mean by that stuff, but I mean by the shape. The 580s and those R5s are super duper tall. People love that stuff, and they just kind of went away from it. Oh, yep. Yeah, they're going to take out a chunk of bone and use a thumbtack and put the tendon back up to where it belongs. Alrighty, there we go. Love the ferrules. Think the shorty would look great on graphic shaft. Yeah, I think so. I'm with that. If you were a Krister though, not so much. The other thing with doing those things is you got to be careful when you finish the ferrules, because you can get the ferrules looking like an hourglass or like they're rounded, and so you got to be very careful of how you maneuver around, because the tall ferrules are like 1.25 inches, where the shorties are right at 1 inch. So I've got to maneuver an inch wide belt up and down so that shape maintains. That's something to consider. If you're going to do a lot of 1 inch or 1.25, it might be worth it to get that 2-inch belt. RT, what's up, man? Yep, we are rocking and rolling, sir. Hopefully the same for you. Mr. Scott's back at it. I ordered star grips. Really easy to install with air. I think so too. 79, it's no brainer. Shot 74. Nice. Was it was it the course that I like so much? Salt Lick? No, not Salt Lick. Anyway, Stone Lick. Definitely got to get over there. We definitely got to get over there. All right, Jim, did you get Robin a bar stool so she continued to install grips after surgery? No, I got her a knee scooter so she could roll right up to it and then keep going. Although today I seen a gentleman at work has this has an addition to where if your leg is bent like this, right? And there's a so if it's bent like this, there's a piece that installs this way, and it straps to the bent part of the leg and the top part of the leg, and you can kind of hobble. You kind of look like a pirate walking around, but you're much more mobile. All right. Double X, soft step, hard step. How much of a flex change do you get when you hard step or soft step one club, one level versus two levels? Well, that was a good thing. Just talking about that one. You're on the average is about a 0.3 in the flex category. So you're a third of a flex to just, and then the second one is a half a flex to just over that. I stick with the liquid mostly because Mrs. McGolf is old school and she knows how to do it. Kid yourself not. Although I do put on a lot of grips, Mrs. McGolf puts on way more than I do, and she likes the liquid, so she stays with it. Personally, I like it. It you know it as let me. Oh my goodness, as as easy it is for putting on with air. Honestly, it's just as easy putting on with the liquid, and it's a lot less mechanical, which doesn't bother me in the slightest, but it's a lot less mechanical with the air and until you get it. Whereas when you have the liquid in there, you got the time for adjustment, put it on there. So there's pros and cons to both, right? Pros and cons to both in that when you do air and you get it lined up, it's on, ready to go, have a day, and that's awesome. The other part is that you don't have to mess with the chemical to get the to get the grip on. That's another good thing. The other side is that when I use the liquid, I have the time to get it on there. I can feel what I want. I get it lined up the way I want to do it. I seat it and I go, and then I let it set, and it's hours away from use versus right away. So there's pluses or minuses to it. Now, the thing is, Bill, the other part is I'm waiting on a tool. I'm going to give it a shot. I've got the pancake compressor and I've got the airline. I just need the gun. And once I get in that, I'm going to give it a shot and see what the real difference is. Tika, MOI matching versus weight wing matching. Your thoughts? Ooh, well, there's a lot more involved in MOI matching than there is in swing weight matching. And that's the trick here. So we know MOI, moment of inertia, right? And we're talking about a moment as the club swings, as a club swings in a machine to give you a readed number versus setting a club in the machine to give you a regular number. Now, there it is. The way to obtain MOI matching is either one, you've got to cut off some length, or two, you've got to add or subtract some weight in order to do that. Because typically in MOI, the favorite MOI is found in either the 7 or the 8 iron, and then what you do is you match going out in the different directions. Because the 7 is the one that's untouched, okay? Where you go up and you have to add, I think that's how it works, and then you go down, you have to take away. Could be the other way around. So anyway, and then you can't. There are some guys out there that could get both done, and that would take a bit. I mean, that would really take a bit. Now, one of the easier ways to do it is just to take the clubs and make them 3/8 inch differences versus half-inch differences, and you'll be really close. That's way of doing it. There are a lot of people that I know that are out there that I've worked with and trained, and they just absolutely will stand up and down and think MOI is the way to go. I've got some of the other folks that say swing weighting is it. Honestly, it's a way of balancing or making sure that the clubs are consistent across the board, one way or to another, whatever that helps you decide that this is the most constant or consistent set of clubs that you can have. And then if it makes your golf better, then I'm all for either one. Personally, I don't have the machine, so I am I'm gonna be team swing weight, just because I don't have the MOI stuff. Alrighty, Robin's talking to a lot of folks. There you go. Would you care to? Oh my! Oh no! Thoughts on the Phil Mickelson story? I don't know the whole story, Danny. I can tell you this. Uh, I can tell you this. Mickelson jumped out there and said some stuff. We all know that Phil's been a fairly opinionated guy since the day one, whether he talks about golf equipment technology or whether he's talking about the courses that he plays, all these different things. He's never been shy to tell you what he thinks. And he's also this new thing, I think would look to be an opportunity for him, whether it be in pay, although I don't know why. I don't know if you can ever get enough money, but whether something just sparked his interest. I don't know what was driving him to say the things that he said. Okay, because golf has given him quite a bit, and I'm sure he knows that. I mean, he's nobody's fool, to be sure. Uh, but this thing brought things into another light. It's like another competition, and he's paying for it, right? He is being Callaway. A lot of his sponsors are kind of stepping back from him. I mean, he's modeled himself as the modern day Arnold Palmer, and so it's kind of hard for people to walk away from that. Now, from me, if you step back and just look at pure numbers, right? Pure numbers. If you were a Phil Mickelson and still could put the ball around and had an immense popularity, and you had a choice between playing a limited schedule on the PGA Tour or going to the Champions Tour, which is a factor of payout much, much smaller, or go across the water and get a ginormous payday, and you're at the end of your career and you don't want to, there's always that. Now, that's a consideration. I know, yeah, it's America, PGA Tour is the home. I get all that. But if you're, and there was a stat out there, if you're at the age of 40 in the PGA Tour, your chances of winning a tournament are getting smaller and smaller and smaller because of the newer kids coming in. And if you're in that category and you could go over there and make that same kind of money over there, and you're worried about taking care of your family, that might be a consideration. Now, outside of any of that, I don't know. I'm not inside any of inside any of the conference rooms. I'm not inside any of those things. I have no idea what drove Phil to say all that stuff, to be honest with you. Uh, all that I will say, he's been tongue lashed enough, and he's paid his penance, and now it's time for him to get back out there. And America loves a winner, and if he was to come out and win, you'd never know anything happened. All right, and don't forget to drink. Forget the drink to go with the bar stool, Robin. There you go. Mark, what do you say, buddy? Clark Summit, Pennsylvania. All right. He broke his left wrist bad, had surgery about a month ago, just under a month ago. Out of commission until at least May. Oh, dude. Well, I guess really the biggest thing here in a lot of this is that as we get older, yes, Mrs. McGolf, you're in that category, that we don't heal as fast, and we all want to get out there and we all want to do our thing, and trying to get out there as much as we possibly can, as fast as we possibly can, is the temptation that causes more injury. And so we just have to be smarter, and that's what age gives us, experience, and hopefully that we can get through it. And until the miracles of modern science, they wave the wand over and you're done healed, we're just going to have to heal it up. Stan, what do you say, sir? Beautiful in downtown De Leon Springs. Ha 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 ha. 88. Ooh wee. Golf takes it back. Oh, it's bike week down there, is it? Okay. Well, good for you. That means we must be getting close to. Do we have Daytona already? Or is that after bike week? I've been down there for part of one and all of the other. It's a good time. Colin Miles, hello, sir. How are you? There's Tim. What do you say, buddy? Well, thank you very much. Oh, so we're halfway into this. If you guys would, I always forget this part. Like and subscribe, right? Like and subscribe down there. Hit that bell. I am very, very close, or we are very, very close to making 25,000. That was my next goal. It was my goal for last year, and I missed it by 200 and some change away. So I wasn't too far off on the calculations. I just had a misstep in when I put out the videos, and that's what cost me. So please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll get up into that count. All right. Is there golfers, Darren Martell? Is there golfers start to stay and play in your area? I'd love to slip a shot south to the U.S. and get fit by you personally. Take my time on have vacation and do it right. Mm, they do have a stay and play. It's up north in Columbus called was it called Eagle Sticks, and they partner up with another golf course that's really nice. You can go in there, and that's the Columbus area. Keep in mind, this is not a Pinehurst / Myrtle Beach kind of thing. It's a little bit more. It's a little more lower key, but the golf is very nice. There's that, and that's about an hour away from us. That they do a pretty good job there. I'm trying to think. And if you wanted to, depending on how far you wanted to shoot down south, Darren, I mean, you hit us and then another, it's a straight shot, 8 hour shot, and you're in Myrtle Beach too. There's another thing like that if you want to go down there. But look up Eagle Sticks. Rob Trudeau, there's RT again. When changing the shaft in the bore through driver, does the flex of the shaft change to a lot of the tip being in the head? Rob, in the Callaways, just a little bit. In the Titleist, very much. You almost gain a flex, meaning that if you go from R, it can almost play stiff in the Titleist. In the Callaways, you get it changes the profile just ever so slightly and gives it a hair more kick. And that's what I do there is I tend to tip trim about, I don't know, quarter of an inch to just under a half. That tends to compensate for that. Colin, 70-year-old single figure player. Nice. Problem is my Sim Max 2 driver with my Ping 275 extra shaft is now too heavy. Average drive 245 with 60 actually have a good dispersion. Yeah. Yeah. So if it is, so Colin, if it's getting too heavy and you're still swinging at that same swing speed, then yeah, the X Flex will keep you tight, and the weight will allow you to speed up a little bit. And will it be a ton? No, but if you can stay in control with it, then sure, you can do that, and I think you would be just fine. And 70-year-olds and that's not bad, dude. I had a 71-year-old in here the other day, and just this last weekend, the dude was 80, 82 or 83, and still getting it. So that was awesome. I like to be able to do that when I get that old. Sunny V, snow melted this weekend, but it's snowing again today. Arg. Eventually it'll get away, buddy. Eventually it'll go away. The shaft in Krister's TM1 is a hazardous smoke yellow. standard Swingways D4. So I can put on a ton of lead tape. Yeah, you can. I don't, but honestly, at the driver, if you're trying, I know where you normally hang out at, you're probably only going to need, oh, I don't know, 4 grams, 6 tops. You'll be right. All right. Shaft recommendations for someone who loads the club extremely aggressively and needs a lower blow fight budget, non-budget. Well, okay. So here's the thing. You guys may not have seen him. His name is Mark. He's done a few videos with me. He's a younger guy, and just like that, just comes in flat and just turns and rips right on it. And he was telling me, he came in here telling me he was hooking the ball. And I'm like, well, yeah, dude, you come from the inside just like you're getting ready to spin out of a telephone booth. And he said, yeah. And I said, how about I said, I got it. He came down. I said, I got a shaft. And hold on, I'll show you what it is. Okay. From a non-budget. We'll do the non-budgety one. And if you guys watch the PGA show, and I did another video, graphite design. All right, the graphite design, the UB. All right, the UB comes in various weights and flexes. This thing is a rod. All right, and now the reason why I'm saying this is because I had Mark hit this, and the comment that he made, and again, he's very aggressive. He brings it around really hard. Is that he felt it? He felt like it wasn't behind him. That was his biggest comment. He felt like it was behind. It wasn't behind him. It wasn't boardy, and it stayed with him. And the guy never saw the left-hand side of the fairway. So that was a win. And when he was cranking it out here, he was landing no less than 295. I had him between 295 and 300 and some change. So yeah, he was. It was a good one. And so if you go search around the graphite design, he talks to this, and the reason why it is the price that it is because of the graphite that's being used and the technology of the weaves to allow them to build such a shaft. So that's a plus, I think. So at least they are demonstrating the reason why, as opposed to we just think it's cool. Okay. Now budgety. Budget. That's kind of a different. That's a different animal. I'm trying to think. Up until they just discontinued it, the Acra had an ice series, and it had a boron, it had a weave on the tip, and I would have said that would have been the way to go, but that's no longer a possibility as I understand it. So we're going to have to go somewhere else. And I'm trying to think here. The KBS TD is another one, but that's in the upper tiers. Going the other direction, actually, probably something in the hazardous lineup. But that's, depending on how budgety you want to get. The RDX lineup is very, brutal. The green shaft, that thing is made for, they call it the Hulk shaft for a reason. And there is a lower ball flight. I guess, yeah, this one will work. There's an Acra FX 3.0, and it is the red shaft. And the red shaft is a low ball flight, very aggressive kind of guy. And that one would be okay as well. I'm going to go put this one back. Okay. So hopefully that helps you out. Whoop. Hopefully that helps you out. All right. Do you still work 12-hour shifts besides working at your shop? Well, CJ, no, I work 10-hour shifts now. I left shift work, and I now do 410s Monday through Thursday, and my day normally starts at around how it starts there. I get up at 4:30 in the morning. That should help you out, and then I get to work and we get going. All right, daylight saving time next Sunday. Old Indian saying, only white man thinks cutting off a foot at the top of the blanket, sewing at the bottom would make it a longer blanket. There you go, right? Yep, don't forget because what we're springing forward this time. So, as opposed to falling back. So, you want to make sure you do set those. All right, if you want to assemble some golf work heads and Excalibur shafts, do I need to purchase everything and send it to you, or will you do the buying? It can go either way, bud. If you send us a note, because we can buy both of those, we can do that. Just send Mr. McGolf a note here, or just McGolfshop at roadrunner.com or clubmaker at mcgolf.net, and we can work it out. All right. Could a lower club head weight help you turn the club head over? Huh. If you're looking at, Stephen, if you're looking at the fact that you're hitting fades, right? If you're hitting a fades, then a lighter club as a whole, but not necessarily lighter club head weight. Typically, what you're looking at now is going down a little bit of flex. Can it? Yes. Does it? I don't think it's proven. Let's put it that way. All righty. Darren Martell again. Couldn't you possibly have a 30 slope curves and more difference between a regular and X-Flex? Yep. In the case, does it technically mean that there's any difference in feel to them? What gap would take to notice? Well, I'm gonna have to digest this one. Couldn't you possibly have a 30 slope curves or more between regular and extra stiff? If this is the case, does it technically mean there is as many different feels to them? What gap would it take to notice? So if you're asking on the slope between, we were talking earlier for the build, a 3.0 slope, not a 30 necessarily, because 30 it would be noticeable right away. The door's closed and she's stuck. My dog's in here with me. So I'm trying to figure out what the question is as far as a 30 slope curves or more between regular flex and extra stiff. If this is the case, does it technically mean there are many different feels to them? Well, yeah, there is. I mean, there's a huge feel between the two of them. One will feel boardy where the other one will not. The different curves in between. Oh, I see. If you're asking about that range that the GolfWorks chart has, yeah, the ones at the top are going to feel a little bit stronger, and the ones at the bottom are going to feel a little bit more flexible. And that goes with that pretty much goes without saying. Now, keeping in mind that range is created by measuring all the different manufacturers that they consider to be regular, right? And Jim is using a strain gauge, so it's not just a frequency. He's using a strain gauge, so it's probably a little bit closer to reality, to be honest with you. And so what one person thinks is regular might have a slower. If you're down at the bottom end of the regular, the guy that's smoother, that releases closer to the ball, that kind of thing, not overly aggressive, might like the lower end of that regular flex, where a guy with that same kind of swing speed but tugs on it a little bit more, is a little more aggressive, might like that end of it. All righty. Well, there's always that too, Brennan. Okay. Vrooming at Daytona Bike Week. That's cool. So Stan, I got an old Navy story on that one. The So we were down there. I was on a tender, and we got down there, and the tender broke, and it was just right during the twin 125s, and we didn't have a we just had found out. So the twin 125s are really not all that uh, visited, right? And so we were able to get tickets. So we got one of those big military vans that holds 15 guys. Off we go. Well, just before we went, we were like, well, good time at the racetrack. You had to take a little bit of beer with you. Well, nobody had a cooler, so I made one. I made one out of Herculite, which was like a really hard, well, really flexible but very tough plastic. And I put in all the way around it some of this. We called it cold water lagging. It was a rubber piece about yay big, and it came in flat sheets. And so I stuck them in there and made a cooler, had a flap, used bungee cord so when I put it over my shoulder, it wouldn't bounce real bad. Oh yeah, it was high tech. And while we were there, I made some seat pads, and I put the little nuclear symbol, and we called it nuclear buttwear. And a couple of the guys that were sitting around us, uh, man, they were like, "Oh man, that is the coolest thing. Where did you find that?" Well, the guy sitting next to me, his name was Larry. I said, "Well, that's at Larry and Jim's sports shop. It's right down the road." I don't know if they went and tried looking for it, but they were all about it. Jim, are you aware of anywhere near Duluth or even in the Midwest with swing catalyst dual force plates? I am not, sir. I would look to see on their website to see if there's something close. But no, I'm not. It is a kind of a cool deal, though. What company do I use for the club ruler? I get mine from Golf Mechanics, Ryan. It's the Accumade. Now they have one of their own as well. It's very nice. It was just light, and it kept moving around on me. I believe, I'm pretty sure that you could put a hole in it and screw it to your bench, and it wouldn't move, and it would go from there. Ah, it gets me back to a 5. Nicely done. Rob, did anything come out over the online train course you talked about before? I was just talking with Mrs. McGough about that, is trying to get that thing going. And every time I start doing something like that, we start getting busy. So I need to do it. I know how to do. We just need to get going. Okay, a couple more, and then we will be done. Joe Weber, do you happen to have a bounce spec for Callaway Apex 19 Pro Dot, Double Pro Dot? I can't find them. I do not. I do not. I would think that Callaway's customer service should be able to give it to you and be able to help that out. Uh, I mean, I don't see what would cause them any problems with that. Callaway's SC. There's Jerry. How are you, sir? Look at that. We made it to the bottom again. We made it to the bottom again. All right, guys. Thank you again for watching. It's been the hour, and that's been awesome. We've been not running over this time around, and we need to keep that up, right? We'll just keep going, and because I know the golfing season is getting close to being on us, and so we really hope that you guys can get out there and shoot the lower scores. Again, don't be a stranger. Like and subscribe. Let's see if we can get that thing off of there. Where'd it go? Yeah, this is it. No, it's not. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Oh, he got his Strixon build. Good, good, good. I like it. The black shafts. Good. So anyway, if you would like and subscribe, tell your friends, like and subscribe, so we can get this out of here, and we'll see your scores very much. Oh, what will they do? They will go low. So have a good one, guys.